Hi and welcome to Game Maker. This is Bob Stewart, your tutorial guide. Hello there. How are you there in Australia? Nah, just kidding. It's Mr. Leyland here, and I'm just going to be taking you guys through a few Game Maker tutorials. The first, I guess, one that we're going to be doing is you've done Catch the Clown, which is your first very simple little game. Now we're going to be making 1945, the plain game. And so we're going to be working through that. But the first thing I need you to do is simply just save your game. Like any program, you just go File, Save. I'm just going to call mine Leyland 1945 and just save it to my desktop. And so you just need to do something similar to your file. Now, hopefully by now you've been introduced to some of these things on the left hand side here. Some things that we use in the games are sprites. We've also got sounds, we've got backgrounds, paths, scripts, fonts, timelines, objects and rooms. In the Catch the Clown game you should have had some sprites, some sounds, some backgrounds. So we're going to be using a few of these things as well as we start to make our game. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to add ourselves 4 sprites. Now, the sprites I'm using are obviously loaded onto my computer, but the ones that you guys are going to be using are off the network, and you need to have a look up onto the board or ask myself or whoever else is helping you teach this program whereabouts those files can be located. But to do that, there's a couple of different ways that you can add a sprite. It's almost like 3 different ways that we can do it. The first way is we can go Add Sprite, like so. We can click on this and click Add Sprite, or we can even right click and add sprite this way. Now this brings up our sprite properties window. What a sprite is it's an image that we then turn into an object. So if we have a sprite in our game, it doesn't do anything besides being a picture or a still image unless we turn it into an object. And now hopefully you've learned a little bit about objects over here, and once it becomes an object then we can give it an action, we can make it do something. But we can always have sprites that are just images to help visualize our game. So what we need to do is we need to load our sprite, and I'm just going to quickly grab it off mine, and you need to do the same by looking on the board where you can find it. So you need to find the folder that has a screen that looks like what we've got here. Now what you need to do is we need to open up our sprite My Plane. So this one down here, you see My Plane, you just need to click on it and it shows us an image of what our plane is going to look like. So you might have seen this in 1945, and so we're going to make that our image, which we're soon going to turn into an object. So press on open. There's a few different things here. Now this is our sub images down here, and as you can see, I want you to watch the little propellers. As we click on it, they move across. Now the idea is these is an animation, so each picture as you click through is a frame of that animation. Now if we do a loop and play these continuously, obviously it looks like the propellers are going. So that is just one sort of part of what a sprite consists of. Now we need to click on this one over here, which is the origin button, and that just shows us that the center, as you can see, is where the crosshair is. Now when we turn it into an object and tell it to do things, everything's going to happen from that center spot, so that's important. And when we click on the transparent button, that means that the blue in the background is going to go transparent, so it's not going to be like a plane flying in a blue box everywhere. So what we need to do is we need to name our sprite. Now when we name all our sprites, it's best to have SPR, which is short for sprite, and underscore. You can't use space in any sort of coding in GameMaker. So if I tried sprite My Plane like that, later on in the program there'll be a lot of issues because it doesn't like spaces. So you need to remember that if you're going to have a sort of 2 words, you need to have an underscore to link them. So what I need you to do now is just click OK, and you can see up here on the left we've got Sprite My Plane. Okay, now that we've added the plane, the other three sprites that we're going to add is Sprite Island 1, Sprite Island 2, and Sprite Island 3. These are going to be islands that we place on the background of our game, and they actually scroll to make it look like our world is moving, like the plane is actually flying. So what I need you to do is either go to this one, add sprite, this one, add sprite, or right click on that to add sprite, and I want you to load the 3 island sprites. You do it one at a time, and so we find island 1, you can see island 2, island 3. I'll show you how to do the first one and then see if you can do the other 2 by yourself for me. So we go island 1. Remember, we need to name it Sprite _ island 1, like so. We just make sure that we've got it clicked on the center for us as well, and transparent, so it's not just an island on a blue block, and then we click OK. I'll do the next one for you as well. So Sprite, we can _ island 2, load Sprite. I want you to choose the second island and open that as well. So now the third thing I want you to do is add in island number 3, save your game, and that's the end of tutorial number 1. Thanks for listening.